Hey there, Aries. Welcome to your reading for the week. Oh, no, this is for the next 3 months, October, November, December of 2025. You have this card that says transformation is beautiful, and also this card that says set healthy boundaries. Yeah, boundaries are definitely something that will probably be a focus for you for a little bit of time here, Aries. So I would make sure that you're having boundaries, especially with Saturn having gone retrograde in your sign. You know, it's back in Aries now, but I mean, it's back in Pisces, sorry. and, but it will be moving back into your sign in February of next year. And, since it went retrograde in your sign, you could definitely be dealing with like needing to set boundaries with people as far as time is concerned, like how much time you give a person in, all areas of life, work, business, health, pretty much everything. And so, I would do that for sure. I would say that December is going to be a very transformative month for you, Aries. There's a lot going on for you, so definitely the end of the year. It's like the rest of your year, if I were you, I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I'm using the astrology here. But what I would say is that like this month, or I should say October, well, really from whenever you watch this video through October, I would be kind of like working on your finances for November. I think it would be a good time for you to like focus on setting those boundaries and continuing doing what's working in your finances. And then December is like kind of like the transformation month for you. So in your first row here, we're going to look at your your 3 main themes that you're going to be dealing with over the next 3 months. And you have the 5 of Pentacles. I actually feel like money is really good for you at the end of the year here. Now, here's the thing though, is that, this is showing up as a theme. So it literally could be a theme, as in you could be thinking about financial limitations or things that are making you feel left out in the cold financially. But I would say this is kind of like a good thing, but it depends on your mindset, right? It's like if you think about the things that are getting in the way of you making money and you correct those things, then things will go well. If you just stay out in the cold, then obviously things will not go well. So, I think it would be a good time to put on your thinking cap here. It just seems like it would be a good time to like look for solutions. You're not going to like magically find them, or they're not going to just magically find you, right? The story of the 5 of Pentacles is that this is a church behind these people, and it represents a place of sanctuary, and so they could easily come out of the cold. And that's kind of what I feel for you. Like if you're not making it, like I'm not saying you're totally poor or anything like that with the 5 of Pentacles, but could always be better, right? I feel like the card is saying like, hey, there are solutions that exist to your financial situation, even if it's good, right? Like I said, it could always be better. And, but you have to actively look for those solutions. And I feel like that's what the 5 of Pentacles is saying. It's like saying, pay attention to anything that could improve your finances and implement it into your life and see what happens. Your next theme is the 8 of Swords. Yeah, I think people could be feeling a little bit stuck at the end of the year here, just in general anyway. The trick is we have to open up to other solutions, right? I mean, it's very simple. The 8 of Swords, her problem is that she is only seeing one solution to her problem, and she doesn't realize that there's like a million solutions to the problem that she has. So she has to kind of like get away from that. The other thing is that she's standing in this very shallow pool of water. And so this can represent like her emotional connection to the problem. And she could be making a bigger deal out of her situation than it actually is. And so from an emotional perspective, the 8 of Swords also says we have to kind of like set ourselves free from that emotional perspective side of things with any problems that we're dealing with. It's not that we should, again, I don't really like when people say things like remove emotion. It's like, well, we're humans, we're not robots, right? Yet. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If the little nerds that run the world have their way, I'm sure they want to turn us into robots or slaves or whatever, right? But hopefully not. And, what I would say is, again, we're humans, so of course we have emotions. But, I would just, like, process the emotions that you're feeling about, and anywhere you're feeling stuck. And, sometimes I think maybe it is helpful to say, like, maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of this than it needs to be. And doing that could be very helpful, Aries. You have the King of Swords. Yeah, I feel like you're a little bit of a genius right now, Aries. Like, I would give yourself more credit for your ideas and the things that you're doing. The King of Swords has a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and so he bases a lot of things based off of, kind of experience. It's more like, what I feel for you is it's like ADHD. I feel it's like pattern recognition, right? It's like I have major ADHD. ADHD people are good at like pattern recognition, right? For example, that's kind of like what I feel for you here. It's like almost like, yeah, we are in a very different world, but I feel like there are certain patterns that you're picking up on in like work and business and career. And I really feel you should pay attention to those patterns. I feel like you should be, it's like, I think your ideas will work better than you think, especially, this could be financial improvements, could be improvements you're making in your love life. It really doesn't matter what area of life you're improving here. It could be multiple, and it should be. And, I think you need to give yourself more credit. So let's see. Also, by the way, he has butterflies behind him on the King of Swords. You have the butterfly card that says transformation is beautiful. Definitely going through a transformation. You are. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Swords. We do have the Queen and King of Swords here. The King and Queen of Swords, I really don't like as far as divine counterparts are concerned, because they're like two people who don't see eye to eye. But, the funny thing is you have the Page of Cups and the Four of Wands here. So there could be a person coming in for you if you want love. And that actually could be like a fourth theme here. You're like the only sign who I feel has more than one theme going on. Like, I'm almost done with these readings. And like most people, I tried to make it 3 themes, but they were really like 1 theme. You have like 4. And so love could be a little bit of a focus going this way. The King and Queen of Swords could say that you need to like come out of the cold, or you need to open up to the potential of a connection to have it in the first place. So, definitely something to work on. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Five of Wands. Everybody has had the Five of Wands. We are in a time of competition. We're in a time of co-creation, but I actually think this is going to make people more competitive. It's like sometimes the opposite happens before we get to the place the astrology is trying to get us to go, right? Pluto and Aquarius, anything that benefits the collective will benefit you. But I also think that there are some squeezes that are happening in the astrology that are making people, it's like, I really don't know how to say what I want to say here, Aries, but what I will, like, without sounding like a jerk, but, at the same time, I just think there's a lot of pressure, let's put it that way, on people. And I think sometimes people act out of character, when there is obviously a lot of pressure to perform, to make money, to find love, everything, right? And so this could be making people very competitive, but, I think as spiritual people, we need to be the ones that show people there's a better way, right? We have to be the ones to, learn new, how to work together with people. We need to be the ones to learn how to study the competition and maybe fill in the gaps, right? It's like usually the competition is missing something. And so if we can fill in that gap, we can become successful. With the King of Swords, you have the Chariot. Yeah, you already know how to be successful, plain and simple. The King of Swords is telling me that you know everything right now, Aries, and I would take advantage of that. The Chariot says you have to take control of the Chariot and make it happen. It's a card of having a victory, and they're definitely, this is looking like a good reading so far. So, there definitely could be some big opportunities for you to really have some big victories. But the Chariot, we have to be in alignment with what we want. We have to become the thing that we want to be before we can be it. And, we have to just, mirror, we have to act as if, basically. And that's what I would do here. Next, we're going to look at anything you don't see coming. You have this running late card. It says urgency, overwhelmed, and striving. Definitely the energy that I would be careful of for you, for sure. You probably are feeling the pressures of urgency, feeling like you're running out of time. Saturn retrograde, Saturn went retrograde in your sign. Makes perfect sense to me that you would be feeling that type of pressure, right? But it's not real. It's probably not real, right? You have this beginner's mind. It says presence, curiosity, openness, and humility. Yeah, I would be, I think having a beginner's mind, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, plus Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is kind of like the rebel. It's kind of like rebellious ideas, wanting to go against the system and things like that. But, that kind of is a beginner's mind. It's like sometimes when people are learning something new, they, they kind of want to buck the system or whatever, and they kind of, try their own thing. Sometimes, usually it doesn't work, but sometimes it does, right? So, sometimes a beginner can actually have a an advantage. It kind of reminds me of, it's like the curse of knowledge, right? They say that sometimes people who know too much aren't very successful. I've heard this story. I've seen it happen in my own life, where it's like I'll see someone who tries something for the first time and they're super successful, but it's almost like they don't know enough to overthink what they're doing. Right? That is the secret, is that if they make a mistake, or if they're about to make a mistake, they really don't know that they're about to make a mistake. But sometimes mistakes turn out to be a good thing. Like chocolate chip cookies was a mistake. Super glue was a mistake that someone made, right? And so there are a million examples of mistakes that turned out to be good things. And it's like sometimes approaching things with that beginner's mind is actually what leads to success. You have the Death card, the Page of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Definitely a major transformation going on in your life. I mean, it's very, like I said, December especially is going to be very transformative for you. I feel like December as well is going to be like that light at the end of the tunnel, speaking of death, where it's like, not literally, but where you like feel like you are crossing through to the other side. It's like gonna feel like a little bit of a blessing. I actually feel like these next few months are pretty good for you based off this reading. But it's like I think we'll say that December is kind of like the defining moment, right, where you cross through the light, and that's what I feel for you here. You have the Page of Cups. I do feel love is a theme for you, Aries, or it will be. I definitely feel you could be attracting a person. I'm kind of wondering, like some of you, it might be a Gemini. You don't really have Gemini here, although kind of. You have the King and Queen of Swords. So it could be an air sign, but, I almost feel like you are stealing someone. Not like literally stealing a person, but let's say you're interested in a person that like a bunch of people are interested in. It's like, I don't think this person has a person right now. I feel like they're single, but, it's almost like you are taking a person off the market. I say this to Gemini all the time now, and so it could be a Gemini, right? It could be any sign, general reading, but it's almost like you're getting a prize, which is good. So if you're looking for love, I definitely like that for you here, Aries. I also feel that some of you it's like you're closer to a dream than you think, but I'm not trying to make this out to be easier than it actually is. It's like, imagine if you had, like, the way that I see it for you, Aries, is that there is like a wall that you have to push through. But, it's like success is right on the other side of the wall. So you need to go get a sledgehammer, right? And you need to bust through the wall, on a dream, whatever it is. And I feel you need to, like, really kind of push your way through it. I'll give you a good example as well. It's like on social media, I'm sure you've seen people where it's like all of a sudden they're like an expert on something. It's like they just like seem to grow overnight, right? And on social media, and those people, it's like I feel like those people, it's like they figure out like what they need to say, and on top of that, I think they also just claim something. It's like that is their sledgehammer, and I feel like saying, what is your sledgehammer on this Page of Cups? Like, what is your thing that's going to help you bust through to the dream life that you desire? And I don't know. You're going to have to do your research. You have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about walking away from things that no longer serve you, and it is the only card in the tarot that has an eclipse on it. I'm recording this on the day of the Virgo eclipse, and even if you're watching it after, it doesn't matter, because eclipses last for like 6 months. So, a lot of you could just be walking away from things that no longer serve you, plain and simple. With the Death card, you have the Six of Cups here. It's like Six of Cups can be a gift from the universe. It can be a turnaround, and it can represent a time where you're bumping up against an obstacle and you're overcoming that obstacle. So there's definitely a theme here of you overcoming an obstacle. Let's see. With the Page of Cups, you have the Strength card. Yeah, that's what I want to say as well, is it's like the Chariot is about charging through an obstacle. It's like a much more aggressive energy. But I also feel like maybe saying sledgehammer isn't the right word to use on the Page of Cups, because it's like, should you be working hard right now? It's kind of a hard question to answer, because really the answer is no. We cannot force things to work right now. We have Neptune retrograding into Pisces in October. Terrible time to force things. If you try to force something, it's not going to work. But there's a big but going on here, Aries, which is that if you are inspired to do the work, like let's say I was super angry about something and I was super motivated to hit a wall with a sledgehammer because the alternative would be me, punching someone in the face, right? Obviously, it would be better for me to sledgehammer a wall and get my frustration out that way, and I would probably feel pretty inspired to do that, right? So as long as what you're doing is productive, then working hard is not a problem. And also as long as it fulfills you, right? Like truly, then it's fine. But if you're trying to force something, it's not going to work. So, again, that's what I would focus on here. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Justice card. Yeah, yes, we go up to the Justice card again in the good stuff. So you are clearly focused on creating more balance in your life as well, which is good. Next, we are going to look at any challenges to overcome over the next 3 months. You have this nothing is yet set in stone card, and you have this card that says be bold, make the first move. Yes. It's like you have to take that swing of the hammer, right there. I would also say these very similar energies, because this nothing is yet set in stone card says you need to bring something into the 3D. Very common energy with Neptune and Pisces, even though Neptune isn't in Pisces yet. If you're watching this early, it will be in the middle of October. Neptune and Pisces is the big impossible dream, but we have to build it in this reality, and we don't have to do anything hard or impossible. We just have to take those steps to make it real, and that's what I would do here. The other thing is that you have the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands says, she has this sunflower. The sunflower is pointing towards the sun. The sunflower represents joy, happiness, her desire. She does things because she wants to do them. I don't really think this is a little bit of a challenge, but I do feel this should be more of a focus for you. Maybe that's a better way to put it. It's of course in life we all have certain obligations, right? But she would maybe be 51% more focused on making sure that her day is 51% more fulfillment focused, right? She would make sure it's just 1% more to the side of doing things that she actually enjoys. And then maybe she even has 49%. I can't do math, but she has 49% that is an obligation in her life, right? She would just push it to that side a little bit more, right? And I feel that's all you have to do with the Queen of Wands. You have the Four of Wands. If you want love, commitment, could be a question. We look at the Four of Wands, the card of marriage, but it could just be the commitment to a person. Really, there's a bigger theme, I feel, going on for you here, Aries, which is probably the theme of freedom. Especially with Uranus will be retrograding back into Taurus in November, the middle of November. And so themes around freedom could be something that you think about. It's I don't really feel good or bad about this, but it's a decision that only you can make. It's and I do feel this is surrounding love. You could meet a person and then you could be thinking to yourself, I don't think you're even doing this from a toxic perspective or anything, Aries, but you could be thinking to yourself, I've been alone for so long, I kind of enjoy it now. It's do I want someone to mess up my day? Do I want to have to entertain a person? do I want to have to always have a person all up in my energy all the time, right? It's I think these are questions that you're thinking about. And there are probably a couple different answers. It's number one, you could find the person that's just so right that you don't care, right? Where you're happy to have them all up in your energy. You could also find a person that just wants to be independent. You want to be independent, and you come together when you come together, right? So there's a lot of solutions, I think, to this question. But it's definitely a theme that you will be thinking about. Same thing in work or business as well for you, Aries. Same thing if you're retired. It's I always get people who tell me they're retired. I'm you still work on things, so this message is whatever you work on. And you could be thinking about themes of freedom, setting yourself free, and that's what I feel here. You have the Ace of Cups. Really, even though we're looking at challenges, again, I read intuitively, I don't think this is much of a challenge. The Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing, being very happy. So, again, if you're attracting love, it looks amazing. This could also be trying to get excited about things, though. The Ace of Cups is about doing the things in life that you can do endlessly. This cup can easily reach down into the water below it, and it can fill itself back up. So it can work on things and not really struggle. It can do things without having to force itself to do things. And it's about finding those activities in life that really fulfill you And that could be something that you work on. I don't really think it's a challenge. I just think it would be a good thing for you to do. Like, find more stuff that fulfills you. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Four of Wands again. Definitely could be attracting marriage potential here, Aries. I feel like this is maybe, one of those things that you're going to be very happy about. It's like maybe at first you're like a little bit like, do I really want... Like, I don't think there's a lack of attraction here with a person in the future or anything like that. I just think maybe you're like, do I really want this person in my energy, or do I want a person in my energy, right? With the Four of Wands, yeah, probably you do. You have the King of Wands. You're probably attracting a King of Wands type person. Someone who's bold, assertive. I feel like this is didn't I say this to you recently? I'm pretty sure. Like, I feel like this is a person, it's kind of funny because I feel like this person pisses you off in the right ways. It's like a person that has a backbone, right? It's like maybe you are too used to a person who doesn't have a backbone. Or maybe, it's like, let's say you have a habit of dating people who over time, they just like give in to your needs. It's like no one wants to date a slug. No one wants to date a worm who just gives in. I feel like this person's a little bit of a challenge in a good way. It's funny that they're coming up in the area of a challenge. It's like, I think that you can... It's like, yeah, sure, you can tell this person, like, I feel like they'll be respect. There's a big difference between, someone who disrespects everything that you ask them to do or whatever, and a person who just has a backbone. It's like, I think this is the type of person where it's like, maybe they have things that they do, and it's like, if you try to get involved, like, get in between that, they're just gonna, be like, I don't care, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like a very driven person, or I don't know what to call that. Yeah, with the Ace of Cups, you have the Six of Wands. Definitely some sort of victory coming in for you here. Chariot in this card. So, but this could be how you create the victory. Having a victorious life would definitely be one of fulfillment. One where you are more fulfilled than you are not fulfilled, right? Is life perfect? No. But can you get more this way? Can you get more on the side of fulfillment? I don't know. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Broken Open card and this It Is What It Is card. I feel like you are opening up. I mean, you probably are opening up to love as well, but pretty much everything. You're opening your heart up. Even the Ace of Cups says that you're becoming more open. So, I don't know. That feels good. You have the Justice card, the Hangman, and the Temperance card. Justice can be cause and effect, of course. Equal give and take and all that other good stuff. And so I feel like you are... It's like the universe is trying to get you to balance out, And I really feel that for you, Aries. I have, like, nothing to add. You have the Hangman. The Hangman is, like, finally getting answers in the good stuff. So if you've been waiting for answers, or if you've been looking for, like, clues on what to do next in your life, or where to make moves and all that other good stuff, I feel like you're kind of, like, finally getting answers with this card. You have the Temperance card. Yeah, it's like a breakthrough that you're having, here a little bit. Again, I think as a collective, Uranus and Gemini is definitely going to cause some breakthroughs. I mean, it is breakthrough energy. Uranus and Gemini is like a lightning bolt to the top of your head. It is like electric ideas, right? And so we have to, but again, these ideas are going to be air if we don't do anything with them. So you have to, number one, write down your electric ideas. I literally... Right here, I have a little electric idea notebook. Whenever I have an idea that hits me in the top of the head, I write it down in my notebook, right? So that I have a place that actually works. I'll give you another example here, Aries. Right here, actually, I don't know if you're not going to be able to see it. It's blurry. But I have 3 ideas right now that I'm working on. I gave it to ChatGPT. I said, break these ideas down into daily tasks. I have 3 daily tasks each to complete, right? We have to, like, this is how we have to be right now. We have to, like, break things down. We have to try these ideas. We have to run experiments, right? And, this has changed my life over the years, but it's like I am doubling down on this type of energy just because it's how we'll be very successful moving forward, right? So there you go. If I can do it, you can do it. I fell on my head when I was 10 years old. I became stupid after that, right? I went from an A student to a D student, literally traumatic brain injury, never changed, right? So if I can do it, you can do it. With the Justice card, you have the Two of Pentacles. Work hard, play hard. So I don't know. I feel like you're balancing the energy, like I said. With the Hangman, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, pretty good in the good stuff, because the Knight of Pentacles is about making progress. It's about moving forward and, kind of like making progress. So I feel like a lot of you are making progress here. With the Temperance card, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Damn. Aries. I like this reading a lot. I feel that, again, by December, it's like you're crossing into the light. And, I feel like you're going to be creating improvements along the way, of course, but definitely could be like a big victory, a change in your fortunes, looks really good. We're going to look at anything else that wants to come out with the Oracle of the Radiant Sun here. You have this domination card. I mean, you're an Aries, so, you could be doing things to, like, dominate a situation or to take control. I think this is, like, good domination, right? It's not like, from a negative perspective. You have this Quarrel card. I would avoid arguments. Yes, definitely. Forgot to say it. For sure. Definitely. I would say for the next, year. At least until I would say all of 2026, like from now until the end of 2026. I would avoid arguments. I would avoid creating arguments, fighting, things like that. It's just not worth it for you, Aries, right now, for sure. You have this optimism card. So much hope in this reading, right? There is a lot of optimism. I think there's a lot of things to be optimistic about in this reading. And I think Queen of Wands, she follows her optimism. She has that sunflower pointing towards the sun. So definitely that would be helpful. You have this loss card. I feel like you need to let go of past losses. This is Saturn in Pisces, this card. We have Saturn in Pisces right now. This is the final hug and the kiss goodbye from Saturn in Pisces. So, again, Saturn's going to officially enter back into Aries in February, or basically around Pisces birth time, practically. And so, again, you could be processing a past loss or a past issue. I don't really feel much about it. And finally here, you have this status card. Yeah, you definitely could be attracting a solid connection. I feel that for you, Aries. Like, maybe it's time for some of you to have love. I feel like some of you have been exploring that theme maybe all of 2025. Like, maybe you've been thinking, I want love, I don't want love. And I feel like some of you have finally come to the place where, like, you know what, I do want it, but I want something specific, I hope that makes sense. But there you go. It's one heck of a reading as well. So there you go, Aries. I like it. Thank you for being here. I forgot to say, make sure to like and leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy the next 3 months.